Alexander Ward stood on the bridge of the Starfire, his gaze fixed on the swirling expanse of space before him. It had been months since he and his team had been thrust into the most challenging mission of their lives, a mission that had tested not only their physical endurance, but also their moral convictions. The discovery of ancient alien technology on the remote planet of Xtan Prime had set off a chain of events that no one could have anticipated. This technology, unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen, had the potential to change the course of history. It was a technology that could enable instantaneous communication across vast distances, teleportation, and perhaps even manipulation of time itself. But as Ward and his team delved deeper into the mysteries of this technology, they quickly realized that it was not just a tool for advancement. It was a weapon of unimaginable power, one that could easily destabilize the delicate balance of power in the galaxy. Ward had always been a man of science, driven by a relentless curiosity and a desire to push the boundaries of human knowledge. But as he stood there staring into the void, he couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. The deeper they dug into the secrets of the ancient technology, the more he realized that they were treading on dangerous ground. The technology had been left behind by a civilization far more advanced than any in the current galaxy, a civilization that had vanished long ago, leaving behind only traces of its existence. Ward had initially believed that this discovery would be humanity's ticket to finally earning the respect of the Galactic Council, a coalition of alien species that had always looked down on humans as a lesser species. But as the implications of the technology became clearer, Ward realized that the stakes were far higher than he had ever imagined. The first sign of trouble had come when the Iconian scientist Denb, who had been assigned to assist Ward, was nearly assassinated by a rival faction. The attack had left Denby seriously injured, and it was only thanks to the Iconian's remarkable regenerative abilities that he had survived. This incident had been a stark reminder to Ward that not everyone in the galaxy wanted humanity to succeed. There were those who feared what humans might do with such advanced technology, and they were willing to go to great lengths to stop them. But Ward had pressed on, determined to unlock the secrets of the technology before it could fall into the wrong hands. As the days turned into weeks, Ward and his team made significant progress in deciphering the alien code that controlled the technology. The breakthrough had come when Ward, in a moment of desperation, had input his own genetic code into the system. The result had been shocking. The alien technology recognized his DNA, suggesting a connection between humanity and the ancient civilization that had created it. This discovery had sent shockwaves through the Galactic Council, with some members viewing it as proof that humans were destined for greatness, while others saw it as a threat to the established order. The Council had been in an uproar, with factions forming and alliances shifting as the various species jockeyed for position. The Iconians, who had always been suspicious of humanity, were particularly vocal in their opposition. They argued that humans, with their aggressive tendencies and short history in the galaxy, were not ready to wield such power. But there were others, like the Etherians, who saw the potential for collaboration and mutual advancement. They believed that humanity could bring a fresh perspective to the galaxy, and that the ancient technology could be used to benefit all species. Amidst this chaos, Ward found an unexpected ally in Denby. The Iconian scientist, despite his initial reservations, had come to respect Ward's determination and ingenuity. Together, they had made a second breakthrough, identifying a rare and highly unstable element that appeared to be the key to the technology's power. But retrieving this element would not be easy. It was located on a remote and hostile planet, one that had been off-limits to the Council for centuries. The Council had eventually agreed to fund an expedition, but Ward knew that this was as much a test of his abilities as it was a mission to retrieve the element. Rival factions within the Council were already plotting to sabotage the mission, and Ward had narrowly escaped another assassination attempt before they even left Earth. The journey to the planet had been fraught with danger. The team had navigated through dense asteroid fields, evaded hostile alien fleets, and contended with treacherous weather conditions. But Ward's quick thinking and tactical expertise had kept them one step ahead of their pursuers. When they finally arrived, they found themselves in a landscape that was as beautiful as it was deadly. The air was thick with toxic fumes, and the ground was covered in a thick layer of ash that crunched underfoot. The planet's indigenous species, a race of sentient fungal creatures, were initially hostile, but Ward had managed to establish a tenuous alliance with them through a combination of diplomacy and displays of technological prowess. With the fungal creature's help, the team had located the hidden cache of the rare element. But just as they were about to retrieve it, they were ambushed by a rival faction that had been tracking their progress. The ensuing battle had been fierce and bloody, with the team outnumbered and outgunned. In a desperate gamble, Ward had activated the alien technology they had been studying, using its power to disable the enemy's weapons and ships. The team had managed to secure the element and escape, but not without casualties. As they made their way back to the Council, Ward couldn't shake the feeling that they had only just begun to scratch the surface of what the ancient technology was capable of. The return to the Galactic Council had been anything but triumphant. The Council members had been divided on what to do with the element, with some advocating for its immediate weaponization and others arguing for its use in peaceful applications. The debate had quickly devolved into a shouting match, with accusations and threats flying back and forth. Ward had done his best to mediate, but it was clear that the discovery had only deepened the divisions within the Council. In the end, the Council had decided to place the element under strict quarantine, with access restricted to a select group of scientists. But Ward knew that this was only a temporary solution. The power of the element was too great, and it was only a matter of time before someone tried to seize it for their own purposes. In the days that followed, Ward had been approached by a mysterious alien named Zephyr, who claimed to represent a group of beings known as the Cathala. Zephyr had warned Ward that the ancient technology was far more dangerous than anyone realized. It had been created not just for communication and transportation, but for mind control. The genetic code that Ward had used to unlock the technology was a safeguard, meant to prevent it from being used by those who were not of the same lineage as the ancient creators. But because of the similarities between human DNA and that of the ancient civilization, humanity was vulnerable to its effects. Zephyr had urged Ward to undertake a mission to the ancient civilization's homeworld, which was believed to be abandoned, to uncover the full truth about the technology. Ward had brought this information to the Council, but his proposal for a mission had been met with skepticism. The Council members were more concerned with the immediate threat posed by the rival factions than with the long-dead civilization that had created the technology. But Ward had persisted, arguing that the only way to truly understand and control the technology was to learn more about its creators. After hours of heated debate, the Council had reluctantly agreed to fund a small, covert expedition. Ward had assembled a team that included Denb, Zephyr, and a handful of experts from various species, each bringing unique skills and knowledge to the mission. The journey to the ancient civilization's homeworld had been long and perilous. The planet was located in a remote and largely uncharted region of space, surrounded by treacherous gravitational anomalies and intense radiation fields. As they approached, the team's ship was battered by violent solar storms and nearly torn apart by a rogue black hole. But Ward's leadership and the team's expertise had seen them through, and they finally arrived at the ancient planet. The world was a desolate and eerie place, its once great cities reduced to ruins and its atmosphere choked with the remnants of long-forgotten wars. But there was a sense of something still lingering, a presence that made the hair on the back of Ward's neck stand on end. As they explored the ruins, the team uncovered evidence that the ancient civilization had been even more advanced than they had imagined. They found records of genetic experiments that had created entire subspecies, each designed for a specific purpose: warriors, healers, scientists, and more. But there was also evidence of something darker. The civilization had been obsessed with control, not just of their own people, but of every other species they encountered. They had developed a way to transfer their consciousness into a digital realm, ensuring their survival even if their physical bodies were destroyed. This digital afterlife required a constant supply of mental energy, which they had harvested from the minds of other species, turning them into little more than batteries to power their immortality. The full horror of what they had uncovered hit Ward like a physical blow. The ancient civilization had not just been advanced, it had been monstrous. Their technology had been created not to better themselves or their allies, but to enslave and exploit. And now that technology was in the hands of the Galactic Council, a group that was already deeply divided and increasingly desperate. Ward knew that they could not allow the technology to be used for the same purposes again. They had to find a way to shut down the digital realm and ensure that the ancient civilization's legacy did not spread. But this was easier said than done. The digital realm was hidden deep within the planet, protected by layers of security and ancient defenses that had remained active for millennia. The team faced constant challenges as they attempted to penetrate these defenses, from automated drones that attacked without warning to traps that triggered devastating energy blasts. More than once, they were forced to retreat and regroup, narrowly escaping with their lives. But Ward was relentless, driven by the knowledge of what was at stake. He pushed the team harder and harder, refusing to give up even when the odds seemed insurmountable. The breakthrough finally came when Demb, using a combination of ancient and modern technology, managed to interface with the digital realm's security systems. It was a delicate and dangerous process, one that required her to navigate a labyrinth of encrypted codes and booby-trapped circuits. But after days of work, she succeeded in disabling the primary defenses, allowing the team to access the core of the digital realm. What they found there was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. A vast, shimmering construct that contained the consciousness of the ancient civilization's leaders, preserved for eternity in a state of suspended animation. Ward knew that they had to destroy it, but doing so would not be easy. The construct was linked to the planet's central power grid, and any attempt to disable it would trigger a catastrophic overload that could destroy the entire planet. The team debated their options, weighing the risks and potential consequences. Some argued that they should try to find a way to shut down the construct without causing a planet-wide disaster, while others, including Zephyr, believed that the only way to ensure the technology could never be used again was to destroy it completely, no matter the cost. In the end, it was Ward who made the decision. They would destroy the construct, but they would do so in a way that minimized the risk to the planet's ecosystem. They would rig the central power grid to overload slowly, giving them enough time to evacuate before the explosion. It was a risky plan, but it was the only one that offered a chance of success. The team set to work, each member playing a crucial role in the operation. Ward coordinated the efforts, ensuring that every step was taken with precision and care. As the final countdown began, the team made their way to the surface, where their ship awaited. The atmosphere was tense, each member acutely aware of the dangers they faced. As they boarded the ship and prepared for takeoff, Ward took one last look at the planet that had revealed so many of the galaxy's darkest secrets. He felt a deep sense of responsibility for what they were about to do, but also a sense of resolve. This was the right decision, the only decision that could prevent the ancient civilization's horrors from spreading. The ship lifted off just as the first signs of the overload became visible, bright flashes of energy that streaked across the planet's surface. The team watched in silence as the planet below began to convulse, the ground cracking open and plumes of smoke and ash billowing into the sky. As they cleared the atmosphere, the planet erupted in a blinding flash of light, the explosion consuming everything in its path. The ship was rocked by the shockwave, but they were far enough away to avoid serious damage. When the light finally faded, all that was left of the planet was a smoldering, lifeless husk. The journey back to the Galactic Council was somber. The team had accomplished their mission, but the cost had been high. They had destroyed an entire world, albeit one that was already long dead, and they had done so in the name of preventing a greater evil. But the weight of that decision hung heavily on Ward and his team. As they debriefed the council, the reactions were mixed. Some praised their actions, calling them heroes for saving the galaxy from a potential apocalypse. Others were more critical, questioning whether the destruction of the planet had been necessary and what it meant for the future of human-alien relations. Ward found himself at the center of a storm of controversy. The mission had raised more questions than it had answered, particularly about the ethics of using advanced technology and the responsibilities that came with it. The Council debated these issues for weeks, with no clear consensus emerging. Ward himself was haunted by the memories of what they had seen and done. He began to question everything he had believed in, wondering if they had crossed a line that should never have been crossed. In an attempt to find some peace, Ward withdrew from public life, retreating to a remote colony world far from the centers of power. There, he lived a simple life, tending to a small farm and avoiding contact with the outside world. But the galaxy had not forgotten him. Reports of new discoveries, new technologies, and new threats continued to reach him, each one a reminder that the work was far from over. Ward knew that he could not stay in isolation forever. He still had a role to play, still had knowledge and experience that could make a difference. And so, after months of contemplation, Ward returned to the Council, this time as an advocate for responsible science and technology. He pushed for stricter regulations on the use of advanced technologies, arguing that the potential for harm was too great to ignore. He also called for greater collaboration between species, believing that only through mutual understanding and respect could the galaxy avoid repeating the mistakes of the past. His proposals were met with resistance, particularly from those who saw technology as a means to power. But Ward was persistent, using his reputation and influence to build alliances and gain support. Over time, his efforts began to bear fruit. The Council established a new regulatory body tasked with overseeing the development and use of advanced technologies. This body, composed of representatives from all major species, was charged with ensuring that technology was used for the benefit of all, not just a select few. Ward also played a key role in the formation of a new interspecies research initiative designed to promote ethical scientific practices and prevent the misuse of knowledge. Despite these successes, Ward knew that the challenges were far from over. The galaxy was vast and complex, and the forces of greed and ambition were always lurking in the shadows. But he also knew that he was not alone. He had a team of allies and supporters, people who shared his vision for a better future. Together, they would continue to push the boundaries of knowledge, but always with an eye toward the greater good. As the years passed, Ward's influence grew, and his legacy as a champion of ethical science was cemented. He remained a central figure in the Galactic Council, guiding policy and mentoring the next generation of scientists and leaders. And though he never forgot the horrors he had witnessed on that ancient planet, he found a measure of peace in the knowledge that he had done everything in his power to prevent those horrors from ever being unleashed again. The galaxy was still a dangerous and unpredictable place, but it was also a place of incredible potential. Ward had seen firsthand what could be achieved when different species came together to work toward a common goal. He had also seen the dangers of unchecked ambition and the destructive power of technology when used without regard for its consequences. These were lessons that he carried with him for the rest of his life, lessons that he passed on to those who would follow in his footsteps. The summit began with a series of tense and often heated discussions. The Draconians, led by their charismatic and ruthless leader, General Korath, made it clear that they were not interested in compromise. They demanded control of the ancient technology, arguing that only their species had the strength and discipline to wield it responsibly. Ward and Lyra, along with their allies, countered that the technology was too dangerous to be controlled by any one species and that its use should be strictly regulated by the Council as a whole. As the days wore on, it became clear that the negotiations were at an impasse. Neither side was willing to back down, and the prospect of war loomed ever larger. In a desperate bid to break the deadlock, Ward proposed a radical solution, a joint scientific expedition to explore the full capabilities of the ancient technology. This expedition would be made up of scientists and engineers from all the major species, including the Draconians, and would be tasked with developing a comprehensive understanding of the technology's potential and its risks. The proposal was met with mixed reactions. Some saw it as a potential way forward, a means of building trust and cooperation between the factions. Others, particularly the Draconians, were deeply suspicious, viewing it as a ploy to dilute their influence and control. But with the summit on the verge of collapse, Ward and Lyra managed to convince enough of the delegates to give the proposal a chance. The expedition would go forward, and its findings would be used to guide future decisions about the technology. The expedition, which came to be known as the Sarathis Initiative, was a monumental undertaking. It brought together some of the brightest minds in the galaxy, each contributing their unique expertise to the project. Ward and Lyra were at the forefront of the effort, working tirelessly to ensure that the expedition remained focused on its goals and that the delicate balance of power within the team was maintained. The Sarathis Initiative quickly made significant progress, uncovering new insights into the ancient technology and its potential applications. But as they delved deeper into the mysteries of the technology, they also uncovered new dangers. The technology was far more complex and unpredictable than they had initially realized, and there were growing concerns that it could be weaponized in ways that even the ancient civilization had not anticipated. These discoveries only heightened the tensions within the team. The Draconian representatives, led by a brilliant but cold-hearted scientist named Dr. Sargon, became increasingly aggressive in their demands for control of the research. They argued that the technology was too valuable to be left in the hands of lesser species, and that the Draconians were the only ones capable of fully understanding and utilizing it. Ward and Lyra, along with their allies, pushed back against these demands, arguing that the technology's dangers outweighed its potential benefits and that it should be dismantled or heavily regulated. The debates grew more heated, with accusations of sabotage and betrayal flying back and forth. The situation reached a breaking point when Dr. Sargon, in defiance of the agreed-upon protocols, attempted to conduct a dangerous experiment that nearly resulted in the destruction of the entire research facility. The incident forced the hand of the Sarathis Initiative's leadership. Dr. Sargon was removed from the project, and the Draconian delegation threatened to withdraw entirely. The future of the initiative, and with it the prospect of peace, hung in the balance. Ward knew that if the Draconians left, it would almost certainly lead to war. He also knew that there were elements within the Draconian leadership who were eager for just such an outcome. In a bold move, Ward decided to confront General Korath directly. He traveled to the Draconian capital, a journey that was fraught with danger and uncertainty. The Draconian homeworld was a harsh and unforgiving place, its landscape dominated by jagged mountains and violent storms. The capital city, an imposing fortress built into the side of a massive volcano, was a reflection of the Draconians' militaristic culture, rigid, disciplined, and unyielding. Ward's audience with General Korath was tense and confrontational. The general was a towering figure, both physically and in terms of his influence within Draconian society. He made it clear that he saw Ward as an adversary, someone who was standing in the way of Draconian destiny. But Ward refused to be intimidated. He argued passionately for the need to find common ground, to work together to ensure that the ancient technology was not used to bring about the very destruction it had been designed to prevent.